Mm. Right. Let me check audio here. Right. All right, we're good. Oh, you're on a time crunch, Derek. Do you want to be up here while we share the links? Actually, I have a few links from Minka, her little debate with Chronic that I wanted to highlight. I don't know what the fuck was going on, really. Because yeah, there was a lot there. Yeah, you do? Okay, I'll send you a link right now. Being since you're on a time crunch. Nope. Let me get into my Gmail. So yeah, very interesting. What I recall from this conversation, an attempted debate, it was funny. She kept trying to like debate different things, but Chronic was just really having a conversation. And I don't understand, actually, part of it. Because I don't think women, especially ones that want to help women, realize that the men they're trying to talk to about this stuff online, they don't care. It was so damn funny. Oh, so funny. Actually, I'm gonna start with this one clip. Hello, Kush. Reverend Insanity Feng Yang. I don't know who that is. Welcome, though. Hello, Darkblade. I saw JR here and Rusty earlier. Bandit. Manletopia. Oh, Derek, our son, has shown himself. Who else? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think she really wants to help, but she's not going to help women by going into a men's space and talking about male accountability. And, you know, talking about the feelings of the women. Because deep down, these men all fucking know that these women that she's talking about give zero fucks about men. So why should they? Why should the men care? Exactly. I don't get it. But I want to share a couple highlights because this is so fucking funny. Yeah.
Go ahead and send me the study once you get around to it.
Oh, wrong one. That's the second one I wanted to share. Let's see. All right, Derek, I emailed you that link if you want to join. I'm going to get started on this, though. This is so damn funny. So funny.
Like, to be on OnlyFans or any of this stuff, it hurts. Like, it legitimately hurts. And all the girls that I know that are strippers, that are OnlyFans, escorts, I built websites for them. I've known them in the Hollywood industry and everything. I was working with the event party that I was working with had a lot of those girls. They call me at like 12, 1, 3 o'clock in the morning crying about how sad they are over what they did, or like, yeah, or what they did, or like how they're lonely. Or
but I think that's just my reaction from that. Let me say this.
Because they're like, oh,
yeah, just his reaction. Crack it. Dude, I was cracking up laughing so bad because I was like, I don't think she really understands fully who she's talking to in these situations. Hello, Mr. Working Man. How are you?
Hello, good mother. Hello, chat. And hello, son. Manlatopia, where the fuck have you been? You never comment anymore. Is he been under a rock?
I don't know. I think he's been out packing, out communing with nature.
Yeah. Hello to everybody else. Hello to Kush, too. And I'm actually going to be on next week, and I'm going to be with Kush on a panel. That'll be fun.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, we have actually quite a few people in here.
I didn't know Minka was still around because I haven't seen her. Well, that's because YouTube kept trying to recommend it to me. And I'm like, I refuse. I can't even react to her stuff. People have asked me to, and I'm just like, so Chronic is a better man than me to actually sit and I actually tried to watch some of this because she was just on yesterday, right, with him?
Yeah.
And I agreed with a lot of what the comments said in his thing. They tried for like 20, 25 minutes, and they couldn't do it. They could not listen to her. And I know she started a point of contention on your stream months ago with some of us, but she's proven us right to this point. Because I was the first to call her out. Like I said, she some may think she means well. I don't. I think she's just looking to be rescued like most of them. She's a former 304. She's doing all the same things like Sarah Dawn Moore, Roma Army, Femme Sapien, all these chicks, Pearl, all these women who are chameleons at the end of the day. Differences, and Kush talked to her and put her on the spot. Differences, Femme Sapien's married, but he's like almost 60. I mean, I rest my case. She's not there because she's hot for him.
I don't know. I see, and it's the same with a lot of the male channels too. I mean, there's very few female channels that I see that are doing more good than harm. Because they are more popular. Typically, they can get into spaces, and I don't know. I feel like I don't think it's a net negative having Minka doing what she's doing. I mean, somebody has to care about these crazy bitches. That's somebody's lane. She's taken up that mantle. She's trying to help them. I mean, without people like her, like maybe these crazy bitches.
Because I know women, even the women that are still in my life, not even as friends, they're just like this. I can't. Maybe it's just my anecdotal lived experience. The other men can chime in. Just can't trust it.
Well, I think from what I gather, from my perspective of her, is she cares. I feel like she cares more about the women in this situation than the men, based on her own experience. Being indoctrinated into feminism, and she might have some guilt from the past shit that's kind of pushing her forward. But it seems like she really wants to help the women in the situation more than the men. Like the whole conversation with Chronic, like they were talking about some whore and Rollo Tomasi at one point, and I loved it when Chronic said, hey, like, I hate Brittany more than I hate Rollo, actually. And I was like, see, that's great. Like, and she was trying to talk about like male accountability. I'm like, that's not where our society is lacking.
No, we're held accountable just for fucking breathing.
Right.
I mean, you have standards. I talk about it on my channel all the time. Even if you have standards, you are publicly persecuted into oblivion for it. One standard, and it's like, you're an asshole, you're a misogynist. If that makes me a misogynist, then I'm the biggest misogynist on the planet, because I won't date fatties. I won't touch single mothers. I won't deal with OnlyFans chicks. If you have more tattoos than hieroglyphics on some kind of relic, I'm not gonna. I think it's funny because it's the same tired tactics, but my biggest issue with people like Minka is women coming into those spaces. What you're doing is very different. The crazy bitch feminist stuff, like your stuff with can I say the former employer's name or not?
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna talk about Lowe's today. Yes.
I was sitting on my couch.
I know.
Crying, laughing. I listened to it repeatedly, like I had it looped, and I'm like, this is too good. But I'm sitting there going, and I said to Kush, the other day in one of his fireside things. We were talking about it, and I said, you know, I was listening to it going, there's no way she has a job after this.
I know, right? Oh, well, guess what policy. Okay, so apparently what I said about the race and sexual orientation, this is their final, because they did after I filed the dispute, and they did another investigation, and he came back to me and he was like, yeah, you know, it's being withheld because of what you said about an employee's race and sexual orientation. Because I literally said gay black dude. That's what got me.
And how he flaunted it.
Like, he's not, I mean,
that's the whole identifier.
Proud. Right. He's proud.
That's the whole identifying thing. Everybody's like, I've said it for years to people, how I looked is not my signifier as a person.
Right.
And I had to uncoach friends of mine growing up, because I mean, I like Kush. I'm a New Englander. I grew up right next door to him. I was in Maine, mainly a white state. I was one of like a handful of black kids, but for years it was, this is my black friend Derek. This is my black boyfriend, my black teammate. And I was like, hey, motherfucker, how about just Derek? Why is this how you see me? And that's conditioning from media, politicians, etc. That's why I laughed when, like, in that awkward silence when you identified the guy like that to prove the point. Yeah. And everything. The funny part was, she did what most women do. Instead of holding them accountable, you know, she made all these excuses. Well, men too. And it's like, no. Like, when she talked about the lifting, that's when I started losing it. I know.
Actually, that's the little clip, because I had 3 clips from Chronic that I wanted to go over, and his last clip actually has nothing to do with Minka, but I want to address this. Laugh more. I completely agree. She insulted Hammerhand, and she clearly hasn't actually listened to him.
True.
That part really pissed me off, and what I think pissed me off more is she didn't even allow him to even come up on the panel and discuss anything. It was like blatantly like, I'm just going to come up here and talk shit about somebody that you're very closely associated with. And
that's a thing too.
I didn't think that was cool.
The male and female detractors in these spaces, that's what they do. They just look at the hot clip or someone chopped it up. They never actually watch a full sit down discussion or a stream. Yeah. And I'm starting to see that now too on my long form stuff. There'll be people in the comments who I appreciate. As I said it before, I appreciate my detractors as much as supporters. My supporters have been going to bat for me in comments and saying, you didn't even watch the guy's full video. You didn't hear the whole point. Right. And remember with Kevin Samuels, how many times with those women on the panels every night, he would say, how long have you been watching? Oh, well, my friend told me, have you watched the full stream?
Right.
Well, no. Exactly. You can't sit there and talk shit, but how can you sit there when you're missing context? You're just going off the viral clip that someone chopped up.
Right. But also, I think it speaks to a deeper issue that we have in our society. I mean, people that have, I think the majority of the crazy bitches that have daddy issues of some kind might look at Hammer in a different light.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's so direct, he's to the point, and all these people that are so concerned about feelings, like, they don't respect honesty and truth.
No.
Like,
yep. That's why, that's my thing. Like, I don't pull my punches back, and that's why, I guess I'm surprised my monetization lasted as long as it did before they pulled it.
R.I.P. your monetization.
Yeah. I mean, for the I think the $8 that I made, which they're withholding still, by the way.
Really? Yeah, because they don't pay you out unless you reach $100, so you'll never see it.
Well, yeah, and they make you go through those hoops with AdSense, which I got. My roommate was my best friend's like, dude, you got mail from Google, and I said, I know exactly what this is. I got a hard copy thing of my pin for Google AdSense and my campaign, and I just go, this is really stupid. I'm like, it's a formality. And then like a day later, after I got that in the mail, I get the email, yeah, you can't do super chats, you can't do thanks anymore, but yeah, when you go into my studio, I still have an option for stuff. And I go, why? Because if you go to my videos, I think it's not there.
Right.
which I thought was just funny. I was like, why do they monetize? They said they monetize these certain things, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to. I will not be the tone police. And that's
Right.
why I don't even gatekeep my comment section. I let everybody say their shit.
Yeah.
Because it's downright entertaining. Because
Yeah.
now I'm starting to get women again that are hating, and then you look at their picture and you're like, yeah, well, it makes sense why you're mad at me, because I'm directly hitting you. You know, we're hitting you in the heart.
The highway hogs.
That, the divorcees, the 6 kids, 5 baby daddies,
Yeah. Yeah.
all the fun stuff. Someone just asked me too. I have to. Do you know who Kendra G is? Black dating coach. Someone wants me to start reacting to her, and I'm like, oh boy. So I watched just a 6-minute clip before I jumped on here, and I'm like, yep, I just have a week's worth just from this 6-minute clip from her short website. But yeah, you insult a lot of people that insult Hammer don't watch his stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And it pisses me off because he's like one of my favorites. Like, I mean, it takes amount of courage to show your face and continue doing what you're doing, even though you keep getting canceled.
Yeah.
Like your image is out there. Like, most people won't do that.
Yeah, I from day one I started, like, I originally started mine to make mine army buddies. I was still in the army when I made this, and there was a couple of liberal feminist soldiers, not in my unit, but it got around because my buddies are in the MPs a town over. And then I got a phone call one day, and they're like, hey, Staff Sergeant Gauze, we'd like to talk to you about your social media content. And I'm like, go right ahead. I said, tell me when I'm telling lies. And the thing is, a lot of the guys higher ups were men, older men who've been through the ringer. And they were like, look, we think this shit's funny. They were like, we're not going to tell you you can't make these videos. But they were like, do you have to show your face? And I said, yes.
Yeah.
So I go, because I don't look like a lot of the guys in this space. And it's not a dig on them.
Right.
But I think showing the face is important. I wish there were more people that would show their face. Like, I'm honestly dying to know what Chronic looks like after years.
Right.
Like,
well, he's in a position to where it's very it's dangerous. I mean, he is right smack dab in the middle of fucking academia. So it would not be good for him to be fired for that, because those policies and that culture is still very much in place to where he would.
Yeah, I'm lucky I don't have to worry about that. And when people do, it's funny. The women that do come in and out of my life that have found my channel, it's funny. Doesn't stop them from casually dating me, though. I can't tell you, right over there, like, I've laid down with a couple of friends of mine that it's just casual, and we'll lay in there sweaty, and then they'll say, you're not wrong, but it's back to, do you have to be so mean about it? I'm like, you mean honest?
Mean.
You mean honest?
That's what I got. I know, and I don't understand that, and that kind of ties in with what I want to talk about after this, with the whole diversity, the whole work mommy thing, the HR work mommy. God, let's get this, because actually this like, I know Minka's not stupid, but I don't
know. I might fight you on that one.
I don't think she realizes how her actions and her behavior can come across as her thinking the guys are stupid. Like this, for instance, right? I mean, I heard this so many times.
Go ahead and send me the study once you get around to it, because I know you have to leave soon for a birthday party. But when you get home or whenever, just send me the study you saw, because I am very interested in all these studies, because I'm not sure which one you're quoting.
Dude, okay, I'm a fan, because it's like you actually care about the truth, and that's I think what I've been looking for, is that, like, I'm just looking for content creators that actually want the truth, because we can't get anywhere solution based without the actual truth. Not my truth.
Whoa.
Well, I'm the only scientist.
See? Hold on, I'm back to that. Not my truth. Not solution based without the actual truth. Not my truth.
Well, I'm the only
My
scientist
truth.
you've talked to on YouTube.
There's also another one.
The whole my truth thing annoys the fuck out of me. No, there is just the truth, not my truth. That's what the people who cope say. My truth. It's bullshit.
Right. Well, my favorite clip I'm going to share, because this is funny.
Let me make it racial in a way that won't get me banned off of YouTube. White people should wear sunscreen because white people get sunburnt. Well, my grandma was white and she never got sunburnt. That's how you identify a stupid person. You talk about a group of people.
Yep.
What happens, and then someone brings up an individual.
Right.
Listen to her. Hold
It
on.
has to be based on basically the majority, not like a case-by-case basis.
Yes.
I'm not racist. I have a color TV.
No, that totally reminded me
Yeah.
of this. Remember this part of
But it's all on a case-by-case basis. Not gender, has nothing to do with that, just in the individual.
I mean, because men are physically stronger.
The way you say it with such confidence in the truth, having no problem realizing.
No.
right. I mean, because it's literally objective truth.
Now, for me, yes, as a fitness guy, do I know women that can throw me around and outlift me? 100%. But those women that I know that do that, like one of my friends that I hook up with occasionally, she's competing in October. She's on all kinds of performance-enhancing drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny. I told her, and her voice has changed. I said, "Is this your first time on gear?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You do know your voice is going to change, right?" And when she called me recently, I didn't recognize her voice.
So
her
are you
voice
saying
was deeper than mine?
Are you saying you're banging a tranny?
No, this girl is 100%. She is a female, but since she's been on the gear, she has developed traits. And I told her that, and her boobs are gone now, and she's upset about that. And I sat there at the gym with her, and I go, "Did you not listen to what I fucking told you? Like, this would happen."
Yeah.
Because she's on 3 different things, including testosterone. I was like, "This is what happens." I said, "I hope you win." And it's not a profitable field of work. I said, "I hope you win in place and get your pro card to at least make it somewhat worth it." But yeah, there are exceptions that girls are stronger, but then what the media does, and sounds like this HR lady, you pluck the outlier and they blow it up and try to make it like it is the majority. Just like those women who passed Ranger School a couple years ago, but what they left out of the narrative was they graduated on the female standards. They had to shoot less accurately, move or do the maneuvers less. There's a female standard. If you've ever seen G.I. Jane, when they're doing the obstacle course in the rain, they do that. They put the step box for her, and she refuses to use it. But in real life, she would have had no choice, and she would have had to fucking do that. Same way before I got out, we had the new ACFT fitness test in the Army. All the females bitched about it because there was no female standard anymore. And majority of them passed. No, majority of them failed to the deadlift with a hex bar, not even straight. They couldn't pass the sprint, drag, and carry with 90 pounds on a sled. And they couldn't do the leg tuck. They had to hold themselves on the pull-up bar and do one leg tuck. They couldn't do it. All these senior female leaders were bitching about it. And rightfully so, because they realized, wait a minute, I am a woman. I cannot do as much as my male counterpart soldiers can. Now, were there a couple of female soldiers who could pass it? Yes, again, exceptions.
But there's always outliers. The exceptions should not make the fucking rule. Ever. No, but that's exactly what this crazy bitch did. I brought up that men were physically stronger than women.
My boss was a weightlifter.
Yeah.
That was her job. So I would beg to differ.
But predominantly, I think men are.
That's an opinion.
No, that's kind of science.
It's an opinion. It is an opinion. I've seen men that can lift 8 things.
Oh yeah, there are small
And
men.
I've seen women that can lift a lot more.
Yes.
It's based on the individual.
Well, the individuals that work in this store.
I was complaining about the people, the diversity hires that were in positions that they had no fucking business being in.
Oh yeah. So I'm glad I don't work in a field like that. I just don't. But you would laugh at the women that I do see, because I told Kush last week, I'm like, so I work at Tesla, right? And the women that are there, prime example of this, the indoctrination. There's this short, fat white chick, and she's wearing a George Floyd "I Can't Breathe" shirt.
What?
And I sit there, I walk by, and she's glaring at me because it was a night where I had I had some veteran themed clothing on, including like my old hat from the range. And of course, she looks at that because that whole narrative of, oh, how can people of color be in the military or be a cop? They oppress you. When the military is literally one of the most diverse organizations on the fucking planet. If you go to any active duty post, people that look like you are the minority.
Yeah. Actually,
she glared at me and I laughed. I laughed because I thought, how in the hell? I said it to Kush. I go, I guess Elon's policy, I guess he's down with people wearing woke retard shirts like a George Floyd "I Can't Breathe" shirt. Like, how is that allowed?
Yeah, I don't know. I know he's currently getting sued by the DOJ. The feminists in the government are so fucking pissed that they're still pissed that he bought Twitter and then fired most of the women. So now they're suing him for not what is it? They're trying to sue him for not allowing illegal immigrants or immigrants at all to apply. Like he wants Americans. And that's funny because even for the DOJ,
that's funny because a lot of the factory, the predominant language is not English, and I work overnights, it's Spanish.
Right.
My first night there, people assumed that I spoke Spanish, and I just looked at one of my coworkers. I said, "Do I look Latino to you?" I was like, "Because I'm pretty sure I don't."
Right.
But he was actually visiting a couple weeks ago. He visited the factory, and people were like freaking out and shitting themselves.
Yeah.
Because I guess the last time he was at the factory here was 2 years ago, and he fired an entire crew because they were on their phones the whole time.
Good.
And speaking of that, it's crazy. It's like I'll be walking, right? And like this is a big area, and there's accidents in factories. And I saw why early on. There's like waves of people walking to like on breaks and stuff, right? And they're all like this, running into stuff on their phones. I'm going, even the older people, I'm sitting there going, it's unreal. Like, you want to know if you're an outsider and everyone else is like zombies?
Yeah.
When you're one of the few people who's not on their phone. One, because my job, I can't be.
Right.
Because it's a liability. And I'm seeing all these people walking around with their phones, bumping into equipment, people driving forklifts.
Yeah.
On their phones, not paying attention. And I'm like, well, no wonder there's all these lanes and all this stuff. But like everybody's just glued to their damn phone. I'm sitting there going, wow, this felt like I was on an Invasion of Body Snatchers. Everybody was on nose deep in their phone, walking around, bumping into shit but me. And they were getting mad at me when I was like, I'd be like, hey, on your left, on your right. And of course, they're getting mad at you.
Right.
For telling you.
For paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. I saw that quite a bit at Lowe's too. It's like those people don't like to be there or something, or they're just so addicted to their technologies and social media. TikTok's a big one.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, they'll sit and they'll scroll, like they'll open it up and then it'll be 30 minutes and they've been scrolling the entire time, and it's like
seen a lot of profiles and bios because I periodically I'm on the dating apps and I post shit to show, you know, especially the younger guys, what's out there and how it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
To be on one and just looking at the lunacy, so many pre-fill things or things in the bio. They say a lot of women are saying, well, they're like, what's a con of dating me? And one girl at least admitted it. She goes, well, I take my advice from TikTok, or I'm on TikTok. What's my favorite? Or like, what's my hobby? And they're like, I'm on TikTok. And I go, well, it's not hard to see why you're alone. You're listening to these psychopaths on TikTok. That's why I said it from the beginning, from day one. TikTok is the greatest weapon the Chinese ever made. Because if you look at how TikTok is utilized over in China versus how it is here, it's a very stark difference. Like what you can do to make a living or get noticed for on TikTok here versus over there where they're using it to advance science, engineering. You get rewarded on TikTok for, you know, actual contributions over there versus here where you can just drink a thing of paint and you'll go viral and everyone will love you for it.
But Derek, I blame the culture for that because it's the population that determines what's like worth seeing. or what they spend their time and attention on, and they're the ones doing the rewarding.
Oh, so, yeah, like Kush just said, though, yeah, the Chinese don't have to fire a single shot. They have TikTok.
Yeah, but is it the Chinese? I mean, it's the same application, just in two different environments.
Yeah, but their algorithm was set up purposely to, destroy us and rot our culture even more. That's why Trump tried to ban it here. That's why he was trying to ban TikTok. And I know, feel however you want to feel about Trump. I really don't give a shit anymore. The man's polarizing. It's not even fun watching people get mad about him anymore because it's like, he is who he is,
Right.
But yeah, the algorithm is very different. Yeah. And I just, like, for me, like, honestly, my channel would be fine without TikTok, but TikTok is the great way to vet people, especially if, like I said, to the young men who still think it's a good idea to find a wife here. All you got to do is look at TikTok. And I love seeing the TikToks with them saying, the guy I was dating or the guy that I want found my TikTok and he dumped me, but it's still not my fault.
Yeah, female accountability. Back to female accountability.
Aren't you glad you have a son instead of a daughter, though, in this day and age?
No, if I would have had a daughter, she would have been a crazy bitch, fucking slave. She would be the one in her class talking the shit, calling the sluts. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, look at it this way. At least you would have to do, because if you had a daughter, you'd be combating that influence, that feminist poison. But at least with a son, I would think it might be easier to combat that versus you have a typical teenage girl today and glued to everything, influenced by all this stuff. Like, imagine if your daughter wanted to go see Barbie or was influenced by that, and how girls are dumping their boyfriends over the Barbie movie now, which I'm not shocked by. I got inundated with so many texts, emails from people, friends, subscribers being like, oh my God, can you believe this? And I sit there laughing going, why are you even surprised? They fooled you with the marketing. This was always going to be a feminist ploy. And of all people, Amy Schumer gave that away months ago when she talked about how the reason she turned down Barbie, because believe it or not, she was originally cast about like 50 pounds lighter ago for her. She was going to be cast, but she turned it down because Barbie's been in the works for years. Yeah, Margot Robbie's not the original choice. They had Amy Schumer when she was a lot leaner, but the reason she turned it down because it wasn't feminist enough. She said that publicly. The original Barbie was not this feminist thing. That's why Amy Schumer turned it down. So then all the weirdos in Hollywood said, well, fuck, we got to make this a propaganda piece. And then who better than Margot Robbie to do that?
Right.
Yeah, it's like anytime I get these reactions, these people do these things. I go, why are you even surprised? Whether it's the government doing another thing or this is like they are doing it because it makes them. My best friend said this. He's like, I won't lie. The more I see these dumb things, I have a strong reaction. It makes me hate them. And I said, that's what they're trying to do. That way, when they villainize you, they have proof because you're having a strong reaction, like a woman.
Right. Right. I don't know. I don't think just hate is a womanly thing. I mean, I think it's perfectly acceptable to hate feminists.
I'm just indifferent now at this point.
Terrorists.
Emotional terrorists.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, Johnny said many daughters are raised based and then they go to college. That is absolutely true. I've seen it. I've seen it on 2 accounts. I get that they're anecdotal, but they are definitely fucking not like both daughters. And it's funny because they both they were one of 3. They had 2 brothers, and all 3 of the kids in each family went to university. The sons came out fine. Both of the daughters, after the first semester of joining all their little groups and getting all this feminist indoctrination, they started lecturing their dad at the dinner table around Christmas about his white privilege and his sexism.
White privilege, one of my favorite things I love to laugh at.
Really? Yeah.
Damn you and your white privilege. Yeah, I've seen you've seen those TikToks too, where the girls or if they come from like a strict conservative household, you see them after normal attractive girl, then one semester in that gender studies feminism course. Chopped hair, piercings, tattoos, the multicolored hair, the anger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, and I think that's what's so fucking criminal about it. It's like these girls are, I mean, your brain isn't even fully developed properly till you're 25. So these are vulnerable young women that are very emotionally susceptible to fear. And that's how they get them into these cults, is they fucking fearmonger them.
Oh yeah, and again, it's all emotional based.
Yeah.
Again, people can say, "Oh, it's anecdotal," but I mean, I think most men can attest to this who've been on this planet long enough or lived enough, have enough experiences. I know very few women who think logically, if any.
Yeah.
My mother might be the only one that I know of personally who's always been sound logic dry, but I mean, from classmates, especially people I served with. You want to talk about emotions? Every female officer that I served with, every leadership or command-based thing was based on some type of fucking emotion.
Mm.
And you'd sit there and like in the meetings, I remember the summer of love, the JAG officer, captain, she comes in with this attitude and she went on this whole thing about Antifa, BLM, and you could just see the rage in her. And then she's talking about going, Trump isn't your boss, and extremism. I'm going, usually whoever the president is, that's our commander in chief. I'm like, you don't have to like the person. Right. It's like, was I fond of Obama when I was serving? Absolutely fucking not. Right. But I didn't sit there and tell anybody, oh, you shouldn't, do this. But because this is back when we used to be neutral in uniform.
Right.
They literally sat there in these courses during the Summer of Love and told us, we could support BLM. And I'm like, that goes against the regs, AR 670-1. And then I got spoken to for that. And they told some private he had to be re-educated. I'm like, well, that sounds like 1984 to me. Right. Re-education, huh?
Have you seen Jordan Peterson's stuff? Oh, man. The Canadian government wants to force him into re-education.
You know what's funny? His daughter's a single mother.
Actually, didn't she get married?
Well, if she did, then it must have been to some sucker, because she tried to debate people in this space before, and she used to get roasted. I mean, like, I don't really care for Rollo Tomassi, but he pretty much wiped the floor with her when she debated him. Yeah. She debated. It's funny, the guys that I don't care for because they're snake oil salesmen, like Rich Cooper. She debated him, got totally destroyed by him too. That's a whole other thing that plays a part into this. I don't think it's talked about enough. Like, especially when these guys in the space, the second they get a girlfriend, they denounce everything. Like that guy who's with that venti broad, think before you simp, as Frost and I call him. Think before you sleep. Mm-hmm. He was endorsed by Sandman, and then the minute she gave him attention, he denounced everything in this space. All these guys like Alexander Grace, another one, Wheat Waffles, all these guys that claim to be about this stuff, but then they get a little bit of female attention. And what's that saying? A lot of these guys are like one blowjob away from going back on the plantation.
Right. Alexander Grace? I haven't caught up with him in a while, but I like his stuff.
It's a $50 course on how to date women.
Oh.
On how to become a better man for your partner. It's like, again, I saw it coming at me, but it's funny. It's a lot of these average-looking dudes that are British that are doing this, but I find it entertaining. Like, you know what? Make your money, but you're taking money from men who are at their lowest, and they still haven't figured it out yet. Yeah. I think that plays a part too. I mean, the feminists love those guys. They love those guys because they're pretty much their foot soldiers. That's why the majority of the pushback on my channel, it's weak, effeminate men.
Yeah. That
name drop these clowns in my stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's your lane.
Yeah.
It's definitely your lane. I don't get into men sorting each other out. That's not my fucking business. It's not my job. That's why, like, when I saw Minka on fucking, like, Chronic, what, you gotta hold Rollo accountable. I'm like, did she fucking watch his content? They're constantly fucking hammering on Rollo for one thing or another. It's just this one thing he agreed with them on. I don't get it.
The one thing that I've seen other guys, if you're going to hold him accountable for anything, it's him again, him, Rich Cooper, saying stuff like, "Oh, men that go their own way are red pill manosphere. It's a cope." And I'm like, why? Because these men don't want to take the risk. The cost benefit analysis has been done and shown. It is not worth it, especially here in the US, for a guy to even try to wife up somebody. Right. I mean, you see it every day, and that's why there's so much pushback on passport men. And what do those women do? The women and men here, they call those women uneducated and dumb, and that's not the case. And I mentioned it a few weeks ago on my channel. Some countries, maybe, but a lot of these other women, like the European women, Romania specifically, I wouldn't call them dumb. They're just traditional.
When they say uneducated, they mean unindoctrinated.
Exactly.
They haven't been scooped up by the cult yet.
And that's why I tell guys on my channel, I said, if you are going to go overseas, you better visit periodically or move over there, because if you bring them back, it's not a matter of if, it's when that feminist poison will corrupt them, and then you're going to be taken to the cleaners too. There's all kinds of threads about that too, not just on Reddit, but other spaces, articles, especially Philippines. But even there, if you go there, there's a lot of horror stories about that, because they're so traditional. If you marry into that family, you're not only the provider and protector for your wife, but everybody in that line. You're fitting the bill for an entire generation. Yeah. That's how a lot of those men go broke.
Yeah.
So it's a pick your poison. I'm not for it, but I get it. So when I hear the dudes here, like Rollo, saying, oh, these men who aren't dating anymore, it's a cope. I'm like, is it? It's sensible to me. It's not the risk is not worth the reward. And again, if this, I don't know if you saw it recently, but after what happened to Fresh and Fit, and I'll be fair, their demonetization, they brought it on themselves. They did. If we're going to be honest, they did. But you know what? They've got other means. And I saw a lot of people saying, oh, well, the manosphere is on its last legs because of Fresh and Fit. And I'm like, really? If this movement is dying, and we've heard this for years, if this movement was dying, why do the marriage rates continue to plummet? Fertility rates, etc. Why are men in droves going overseas to find the type of woman they desire? Right. I'd say it's the exact opposite. But again, that's the media trying to tell you and convince people, oh, this movement is small. It's really not, especially when the mainstream media talks about it every week now. You know,
I don't watch the mainstream media. What are they saying?
Oh, well, it's the same thing. It's, oh, the marriage rates are low because this is what they love to say, this line. The pool of eligible qualified men is dwindling. No, that's bullshit. Those eligible men just don't want to commit. Why would they want to give up their resources for a woman that's incentivized to take their stuff? Because she's not happy. Today, I did my video on all these divorcees reacting about they were happier until they realized they're not getting as much money as they thought they would. So it's not about love. It's about a payday.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're loved. Let's be real. We're loved on conditions. We are loved on conditions. I don't know why people have a problem admitting that, but they do. That's why I do what I do. It's like, you know what? I could have been married 3 times. And honestly, if I had married all 3 of those chicks, I'd be living out of a fucking car on the street right now because I'd be divorced 3 times over.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. Kush talks about a lot on his channel. And he had some black pillars try to shame him recently too, I saw, which I thought was very hilarious.
Black pillars shame Kush? Why?
Well, it's funny. The black pillars think red pillars are the ones that are the problem, which I just find it funny. The black pillars are the gloom and doomers. Everything is negative to those people. All the red pill does, like, I think it's funny that it just gets associated with men not wanting to date. To me, the red pill is reality of how the real world actually is. And adjusting and adapting accordingly to once you realize how the world is when it's not just about, government, your jobs, etc. People, prime example. But then the red pill does go into dating. That's why once you are woken up to female nature, you really can't love them. People can disagree with that. You really can't. They're very likable, but loving one of them after you know what they're about, and that's why I tell people on my channel, don't hate them for their nature. Just understand it and move accordingly.
Yeah.
That's also why I keep a lot of my stuff lighthearted and comedy, because I know a lot of these guys need laughs. Because there are a lot of guys that are going through a lot worse shit than me. And it's like, if I can make them laugh, great.
Yeah. Yeah, that water, that was so fun, so unexpected. I was like, this is great stuff. That water.
I saw that clip and I'm like, I have an idea. Originally, I was going to get in the bathroom and I was going to do it that way and then get launched into the tub.
Right.
But I'm like, you know what? The risk reward of getting injured from that, I'm like, I got to think of something better. So I'll just sit here and I'll push a button and have something splash me.
Yeah, that was so funny. That's why I sent you that link to that. What is it called? Lipodema?
Oh yeah, and you sent me that stuff.
Did you click on the link?
Yeah, I looked at it last night.
In the bikini, and she's like, all this lusciousness.
Like I said the other day, male preference, especially when it comes to looks and attractiveness, male preference is ignored. It's not taken into account. If you don't date Mrs. Piggy, if you don't date and commit and parade her around town, you don't show that hog to everybody, you are a bad person. It's like, no, most men, like I said, a lot of dudes who are desperate enough, again, will they sleep with those girls? Sure. But do they want to be seen in public with them? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's funny how she's like, oh, this is lipodemia awareness week or whatever. I want to bring attention to, what lipodemia is. And she's showing off this big ass bruise. She's like, yeah, we get bruises all the time. And she's like, it affects 11% of women in the world. I'm like, really? There's 11% that have gotten so fat to the point that they gave themselves a fat disease.
Well, yeah, it's not their fault that they lived a life of gluttony to get that way. And I understand, yes, there are things like, yes, thyroid conditions, but when you become morbidly obese, it's more than that. It's what you're putting in your body on a daily basis. Like I said, majority of what I get for likes when I am perusing the dating apps to show guys how bad it is, most of the likes that I get are fat women. And again, you look at me and you look at them and I just laugh and say, in what world do they think that I would give them a chance? But the reason they fight above their weight class, pun intended, is because at some point these attractive, fit, or 6 foot Giga Chad men put them to bed. So now they think they're on that level.
Do you think it's that, or do you think it's all the girlfriends that are surrounding them that are like,
too.
oh, you deserve that?
Well, no, it's that too. And that's why I call it out on my channel regularly, saying if your friends really cared, they'd stop lying to you and tell you, hey, you're a fat piece of shit. Lose some fucking weight. Men have no problem with that. There was one time in my life where I was out of shape, and I've told you this before on other stuff. I used to be fat. I'm the only man. I'm one of the few people in my family who's not overweight or doesn't have a laundry list of health problems. The one time where I let myself go was in between when I was at boot camp and then going to Fort Lee for my job school in the Army. And these are open base showers, right? So all the dudes are naked on each other. And it took a wake up call from a buddy of mine. I'll never forget it. PFC Green from Inglewood, California. He looked me up and down because the restrictions were lifted, the discipline was lifted. So I was eating bad, and I was in the mindset of, oh, well, I work hard. I still believed, I could outwork and outtrain a bad diet. Mm-hmm. Not only did I fail my run in the PT test, and I was still in denial. And then the second thing, we're in the open bay showers, and this guy comes to me and he goes, Gauze, what the fuck happened to you? He's like, you used to be ripped. He goes, you got fat. And I was in denial. And then I looked in the mirror, looked at my chest and everything, and I go, wow. And then I went home. So I was there for a point in time. So we got to go home for 2 weeks for Christmas break. All I did for those 2 weeks when I went home is I worked out nonstop and ate clean. And then by the time I graduated from my job school, I was ripped and shredded again. That was 2010. That was the last time I was out of shape, overweight. And I had to have another male tell me harshly, hey, you got fat. What the fuck? Yeah. But women don't do that. It's you're a queen. Oh, look at you. Oh, you deserve. That's another thing. None of us deserve a goddamn thing.
You know what?
No.
And I have a hard time believing that these women actually care about each other.
They don't. I talk all the time. They don't.
Yeah.
Only if it benefits them, they do.
Right.
That's why you don't see the feminists in these other countries fighting for women's rights, because they don't really care. Yeah. That's like the whole Afghanistan thing. I said, well, if the feminists really cared, they'd be over there picketing. Oh, wait, they can't.
Right. Yeah. A lot of them don't even want to. They're like, you guys are crazy over there. Like, why are you trying to do all that? Like,
yeah. I truly believe the more I've witnessed it, and also just from majority of my family, the extended one, it's mainly women, and I've spent a lifetime to this point, 35 years on earth, watching it. As I said many times before to you and other people, having a crash course when you're around women, especially growing up a lot, you see the nature. Even in the family dynamics, I'll watch interactions and I go, wow, they might be related. We were related by blood, but they really don't give a shit unless it's a benefit of some kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why you can't hear, like, I think it's funny, especially like with a lot of these delusional single mothers that complain online about stuff. And they're surrounded. You are the product who you surround yourself with, right? I truly believe that.
Yep.
They won't even hold each other accountable. Remember my sister, a lot of her friends were divorced single moms, and my sister's the only one who's still happily married, traditional marriage, etc., whatever. She told me one day that she had to cut ties with all her single mother friends because they were trying to influence her to do stupid stuff like they were doing. Getting the multiple baby daddies, picking the bad men, all that stuff. And my sister was like, I can't be friends with you anymore. She's like, you guys are going to ruin my marriage and my family.
Yeah.
But deep down, jealous. That's why, like, back to your point about them not caring, subconsciously they do it. Some of them know what they're doing. They will sabotage their friends who are in healthy relationships or marriages. They'll ruin that because they want them to be single with them out on the street.
Mm-hmm.
That's why men have that staunch stance of no girls trips, especially if your girl is the only one in her friends group that is off the market, whether she's married, engaged, or just in a long-term relationship. Those girls trips, we all know what happens on those girls trips, especially the single girls. They fuck around.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a secret anymore, thanks to TikTok and other platforms. It's not a secret.
Right.
Like, I did this video months ago. This girl, she was a single mother, shocker. The guy she was committed to picked her up at the airport, but then he found out that she cheated on this girls trip, and he ghosted her. He's like, well, the hell with this, and she couldn't figure out why. And she literally gave it away in the TikTok. She said, this girls trip, yeah, I did hook up, but why did this guy leave me? Seriously?
What? I'm so glad I can't even. I get a few links here and there sent to me about TikTok, but I can't even be on it. And I have my Instagram so properly tuned that I only like certain things that make me laugh. By the way,
my buddies sent stuff to me because they know I don't have it. They try to send me stuff like, "Oh, get back on." I said, "No, there's just no point." But again, it's a great tool. It's basically Cliff's Notes for dating for the men that still want to find, or as Joker says, a needle in a needle stack.
Yeah, a needle in a needle stack thing.
But
I have to show you this, Derek.
Is it more low stuff? I hope it is.
Oh, it's funny, actually. This isn't, it's so racially sensitive.
Oh, boy.
It's so funny. Officer? No?
One of my buddies is sending me something right now.
Yeah. The Officer Tatum. What?
I like him.
Me too. Okay, yeah, this is it. I hate finding stuff that takes me forever to find it. I wish Instagram was more user friendly. Maybe I can send it.
Give me your money.
Yes, copy link. Put it in the Discord.
Just looking at some of the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Midnight. Can't picture working man as fat. No, dude, I was. I was even chubby as a kid growing up until I grew into my body. But yeah, I was fat once, but never again.
Okay, found it. You're gonna love this. This is how things should be.
Give me your money.
Oh, calm down, bro.
You calm down. Just hurry up.
Are you a black guy?
Are you serious?
What?
What? Just because I'm robbing you mean I'm black?
Well, I mean,
Why would you think that?
maybe because you're robbing me and you're black.
How you know I wasn't a white guy?
Bro, you talk black.
Excuse me? Talk black.
Sorry. I mean, talk African American.
I didn't know black was a language.
Look, man, I didn't mean to offend you, okay? I was nervous.
How would you feel if I just assumed you was a gardener?
I am a gardener.
How would you feel if I assumed you was in a mariachi band?
I'd be fine with it. I love mariachi.
How would you feel if I assumed you was illegal?
Oh, okay. Calm down. That's too far. Who you been talking to?
Doesn't feel too good, does it?
Okay, well, how would you feel if I assumed you need to pay child support?
How would you feel if I assumed all you did was get drunk and watch soccer?
How would you feel if I assumed you only eat chicken and watermelon?
How would you feel if I assumed you only eat tacos and fajitas?
Well, how would you? Damn, I could really go for a taco right now, actually.
Hey, actually, I could do the same.
There's actually an amazing taco truck down the street.
Oh, really? I gotta check that out.
You probably won't like it, though, because they don't have grape soda.
You know the difference between Hispanic and a stoner?
What?
Stoners have paint.
The difference between a black father and a boomerang?
What's that?
Boomerang comes back.
What's your favorite band? Juan Direction?
What's really long and black? The line at KFC.
That one's kind of funny. I like that one.
It's good, right? I like Juan Direction, I'm not gonna lie.
It was a good one, right?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I got a black joke for you.
Give me your money.
That reminds me of a joke my buddy said to me a while back, and he's like, "Why are black people so tall?" And I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Because they're Negroes."
Oh, hello, Rusty. Nello Wolf. I saw Billy in here earlier. I couldn't say hi to him. Uncle Guns.
Wait, Johnny Midnight. Was that the guy, speaking of race, was that the guy that pissed off that black guy that one time, like a month ago, when we were in the chat? That was Johnny Midnight, right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I still laugh about that. I think about that, and I'm like,
yeah. So, because I played clips, remember the clips I played from Yellowstone?
yeah.
Yeah, that got it blocked. So I'm like, do it.
That's really too bad. That was a very entertaining panel.
Yeah. I was thinking about restreaming it minus the clips just to open it back up.
You should. You 100% should.
Okay. I try to be so patient, and you can't talk somebody logically out of their emotions. You can't do it.
When when emotions are high, logic is low.
Yeah.
Clouding your judgment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, JR was there. He's talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's fifis, as Kush and I call it. Everyone's fifis.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I can't believe it took me over 6 months to finally get my one-on-one conversation with a feminist from the HR department. It took me 6 months of talking shit at work about feminists and diversity, inclusion, equity policies. And what actually did it was saying gay black dude.
Well, that's the target demographic. I was trying to tell my best friend about this, like the whole how Dave Chappelle has talked about it, and there's a history about it, and it's true. Not only, trying to make a lot of black guys gay or just feminizing them, the whole black man in a dress thing is a real thing. And that's why Dave Chappelle was blacklisted for so long, because he refused to do it. Everything that he was in, they tried to get him to go in a dress and he wouldn't do it. And Kevin Hart was the same way. And then he finally gave in. Or people remember, what was it? Kid Cudi on SNL a couple of years ago was in a dress. It's a thing. It's to see if you're loyal, if you can be controlled. We got another black guy that's making us money, but will he do our bidding? Will he wear a dress? Martin Lawrence, Big Mama, same thing. Tyler Perry, Medea, same thing. But if you don't do it, then they say, what did they say about Dave Chappelle? The whole fiasco about the Chappelle show ending, they said he went to South Africa and he was psycho. And he wasn't. But that's the thing they spun, saying he lost his mind. No, he just didn't play ball.
Right.
It's, again, that's ever since, black people started making their way in the world, that's been a thing. And that's why Kanye got in trouble when he said they, and he wouldn't name who it was because it would get him in trouble. He was talking about Jewish people. Mm-hmm. They're the ones running everything there. That's why he got in hot water, because he wouldn't say that, because he knew if he flat out said Jewish people, he'd get in trouble. But again, they're protected because of the Holocaust. Yes, no one's taken that away from them, but they've done their evil deeds since then.
Yeah.
But that's been a thing. That's why, like you saying gay black person, that it sets off the alarms for these companies, because that's a target for them. And it's always going to be. Tatum's talked about it. A lot of black voices and spaces talked about that, about feminizing black men, making them all gay or put them in dresses. It's a whole thing, and people are still in denial about it. But I try to have the conversation as much as I can with folks, because they want to deny it, that it's a thing, but it is a thing. It actually happened to me, and it's not even just on a grand scale. It happens in, generic town USA. I did a lot of multimedia entertaining stuff growing up in school, and they tried to get me in a dress several fucking times in theater stuff.
Really?
And I wouldn't do it. And then I went home and told my dad about it, and he was like, he went to the school board and was like, why are you fixated on getting my son in a dress for? They were trying to get me in a fucking dress. They wanted me to play a gay character, and I refused. I was like, no. So it's not just Hollywood. It's in all other spaces that you don't know about. They try to do this shit because they're in their mind. It's one less strong black man that will speak out against us if we get him to play ball. Again, that's why Ice Cube gets blacklisted now. And he just had that interview with Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson's like, well, why don't they want to talk to you? And he goes, because I won't toe the line. It's a whole thing. It is a whole thing. And people are denial about it.
Well, okay, so at the beginning of this recording, listen to this shrieking. Now, just a little backstory. She's literally talking to a grown man like he's a 3-year-old. And he was another gay black man who was in the office taking some kind of survey. But listen.
Oh, it's super cute. I like it. Love it. Oh, it's super cute. I like it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, like, not only is that extremely fucking unprofessional, but, and she was like in my ear doing it. So I was like, whoa, because like she just, but it's the same kind of energy that I see with women and like toddlers when they're dressing them up and they're like, oh, and they're excited. It's weird. And this was a grown ass man, like telling him how super cute he looks. Like,
that's the modus operandi now. This, especially you start him young. The second that young boy has a smidge of testosterone or backbone, they snuff it out and they want to play dress up or make him weak. That is where that ridiculous Gillette ad from years ago now hit its mark, when they had the row of all those men barbecuing And they were like, boys will be boys. And the two boys were roughhousing, doing normal little boy stuff. And that effeminate man broke it up saying, we don't do that. That was the whole point. That could have been the entire ad, not all the fluff before. That could have been the entire ad, and it would have been even more impactful. That's why I laugh, and I see it. It's funny. I see it at work all the time. There's a lot of couples. Like if you work in a factory job, like if you have day shifts, evening shifts, like you see a lot of couples. And I got to tell you, I'd say about 95% of these couples that I see on the factory floor, who do you think is the more masculine one? It's not the guy. And these are dudes that are like tall or lanky, long hair, you know, their clothes are hanging off of them. You know, their girl can pick them up. And then you hear them talk in the most effeminate voice. I'm like, you're a straight man. Got it. And then it's funny because they look at me and they glare at me because I'll catch their girls giving me the eyes. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're only with them for certain. I want to pull these guys aside and be like, you know, your chick is only with you for circumstance. You're clearly providing something. But she's got wandering eyes for all the manly men in this factory. But she's holding your hand. Yeah.
It's got to be submission.
Oh, yeah. And then you'll see them in like the arguments. Oh my gosh, they're walking all over these guys. And I laugh and I said, you know what? This is what they wanted. You can't save everybody. I try, but you know, yeah, the effeminate men, and yeah, like you said, they act like they're toddlers when it's like again playing dressed like these are grown ass men, and they're like, oh my god. Look at them. And the men just play it because they've been beaten or browbeaten into submission. They don't dare speak up for themselves.
Right. And I have noticed that because I've actually, the one she was talking to, I had actually talked to him a few times, just one-on-one. And he was like normal. Like, because I've seen other people, the way they interact with him, and he gets all like showy and flamboyant. And I mean, if you're just talking normal, he'll be normal, almost like he mirrors off of the energy that comes to him.
Yeah, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah. It does sound exhausting. That's kind of sad. Like to feel like a puppet all the time, or I don't know. I blame these women that are doing this though. Like
yeah, and then those same chicks turn around and go to TikTok and say, where are the men? Where are the manly men? Where's the chivalry? You murdered it. You slit its throat Colombian necktie style.
I wonder if those women are seeking a new target.
They're like, just looking for the next. They're looking for the next contestant on Who Wants to Be a Sucker. Right. Like they don't even hide it though. But again, think about it, and like remember the story I told you about how before I moved out here, that woman that quit because I wouldn't talk to her, give her attention while working. Yeah. That 50-year-old feminist. Now, mind you, yes, she was very attractive. She had problems at home, and no, I was just like and I was focused on getting work done, and luckily, the president, vice president were men and conservative men, and they laughed it off because she wanted me gone. Even though I was moving in a couple months, they laughed at her. And they're like, let me get this straight. You're in your 50s, and instead of being an adult, you rage quit because the young, fit, attractive black man wouldn't give you attention. Right. Get the fuck out of my office.
Just so weird.
Again, for decades, they said in the workplace, in public, dates, they've told men to fuck off, leave us alone, don't hit on us, don't approach us. And now they're turning around going, why won't they approach us anymore? You asked for it. You voted for it. See,
okay.
you give these crazy feminists free will and choice, and look what they do with it.
You know, I'm still baffled that there's so many of these crazy bitches in positions of power and authority when they have been telling the world that they just want to destroy things. And when people are like, oh, we have these women in this company and now we're not doing so good, I'm like, fire these feminists. They're in there to destroy what you built. I don't get why they just don't push them away.
Production goes down, especially in male-dominated spaces. Production goes down.
It does.
They just want to be social butterflies and talk, and the men are like, "We're here to fucking work."
Yeah.
Talk on your lunch break.
Yeah.
You know, and I find it funny. You know, these same women. I won't be submissive. Being submissive or being traditional at home is slavery. They won't do something their husband asks, but they have no problem when their male boss tells them to work later, do stuff. They're submissive to a male boss who just sees them as a number in paragraph line.
Yep.
Can't make it up. You cannot make this shit up. So you won't respect your man or do the things that he asks you to do while he's busting his ass, but your nameless, in some cases, nameless, faceless boss that asks you to work late or get him a cup of coffee. No problem. You have no problem submitting to that. Oh, wait, because there's money involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I don't really understand.
Yeah, well, what Kush just said, the feminists who worked at my company did a lot of damage in a short time. Do not underestimate their capacity for destruction. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm glad at my job now I'm on my own. I work solo for 12 hours. It's great. And I can just observe people. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad my local Lowe's store is rid of all these feminists. I mean, at the corporate level is a different thing, but at that location, the day-to-day people that work there, those diversity hires, I think there's like 2 more left to get the axe, but yeah, it's been cleansed. Getting that crazy nose ring bitch out of leadership though was a big help.
I swear it's a rite of passage, just like all the trashy tattoos, the bull rings, the nose rings, all that stuff now.
And you know what? A woman that would pierce a hole in their fucking face. Like, it's a serious red flag. And it always is a signal of daddy issues.
Just like the tattoo, it's emotional damage.
Yeah. Well, but putting holes in your face as a woman, that's something entirely different.
It's not attractive.
It's not.
But again, like I said before in my video the other day, male preference, what they like and find attractive, not attractive, doesn't matter. You have to take her as she is. You've got to change 39 different ways for her, but you've got to take her as is, all her scars, damage, and if you don't, you're a piece of shit. Then I'll be the biggest piece of shit walking, and I'll wave that flag proud. Because there isn't a woman walking. There's not any amount of public persecution, sign language, whatever you call it, that would ever make me lay down for any of these broads here in the U.S. and all their bullshit. I'm sorry, but no, actually, I'm not sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Nope.
No.
Nope. Have standards, gentlemen. If you, like I said, I think you're crazy if you still are trying to find a wife here. But if you are hell-bent on doing that, you've got to vet. You have to vet, and you have to keep your standards. And you'll see, especially the younger men, it will weed out about 99% of them. That's how bad it's gotten now. But again, thanks to TikTok, as much as I hate that platform, that is the ultimate tool for you to be like, wow, I need to run.
Do you think the algorithm pushes more crazy bitches in your feed because of your search for crazy bitchery?
Well, no, because I have people send me that, but I'm not on TikTok. I have friends send me those, and I just make the stuff. I edit the stuff.
Okay, nice.
You couldn't pay me to sit on that fucking platform. Are you kidding me?
And search.
That's why when I get done editing or doing a video, I have to go do my hobbies because I need to make sure my brain pans aren't fried.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Contriver said, working men, the problem, and generally speaking, never realizes that they are consumer demographics and just a maid at these corporate offices with their degrees. Realization is not there still. Or what?
Yeah, they're the consumer demographic, especially in those settings like that. I know what he means by that.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, again, they own most of the consumer debt anyway, on top of that. They are there, and that's like when Cosmopolitan admitted all those years ago, which is funny to me when I see these women who regret feminism TikToks now, and they're like, no one told us. I said, Cosmopolitan literally told you guys when that CEO was still alive before she died. She did that interview saying they purposely lied to push feminism to sell products.
Mm.
And they want the head writer talking about how she made up stories about the average woman in East Podunk, Missouri, sleeping around and being empowered to get women to do it.
Mm.
And here's the kicker. Both of those women that were the former heads of that Cosmopolitan, they were both happily and successfully married. So these are married women trying to keep other women single.
That's
public
crazy.
knowledge. That's why I have zero sympathy when they say, no one told us. I said, they've literally been telling you. Men and women for decades have been telling you it's a lie.
I mean, see, that's what I don't understand. Like, as a woman, every time I heard what I now know today as a feminist, I just thought they were a crazy delusional bitch, because they're like, you know, women can do everything men can do. And I'm like, that's stupid. That's not true. Like, but I never knew it was like a feminist agenda behind it. I was just like, I saw that and I'm like, that's not even true. Like,
the way you said that, it reminded me of it's a clip a lot of people use in edits from when Joe Pesci was on, when he did his when Tales of the Crypt always had all these big Hollywood stars doing episodes. You know, when he walks up and he goes, when Joe Pesci goes, what the fuck is this piece of shit?
Yes, Tales from the Crypt. I love that show.
But yeah, see, but for every woman like yourself that sits there and is like, this is dumb, I'm not buying what you're selling, there's like 1,000 of you, 1,000 opposites that are like, sign me up, okay, yeah, where's my bra?
I'm burning it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out how to prosecute these crazy bitches for their crimes against humanity. I want to see them burning at the stake. Like, especially these, and I don't have a problem with gay people in general, but I blame the lesbians, the radical fucking lesbians.
Well, that's the thing. Well, most people don't have a problem with that lifestyle. They just don't want it force fed on them.
Yeah. And when you're in a position of power and authority, i.e. like a, professor at a university, where you have the responsibility of caring for a lot of young women, and you're like so predatory that you, instead of teach them, to be successful in life, you use that time to fucking fearmonger and indoctrinate them just so you can like scoop them up into your fucking sex cult.
So I've added
crazy bitches
to my predatory. To my red flag holster. If I see a girl and she says she's a teacher, I automatically run, because odds are, she's not really a teacher. She's indoctrinating kids. And I've noticed that trend on dating apps. I mentioned this a week and a half ago about how, like, why are the majority of what you see on apps are the woke, single mom, radical women? Because they're the leftovers and they're the undesirables. And the teacher section of that on these apps, they're all pre-K through like third grade teachers that they're on there. And then the other contingent of that is the small percentage that are college professors. And yet you see their pictures, it's all political grandstanding. It's like, yeah, you're not a teacher, you're an indoctrinator.
Yeah. You're a domestic
a
terrorist. You're a fucking terrorist, is what you are. Yeah.
You sit there and talk about how much you hate men and blame them, but then you're like, I want a husband.
But if they say that, it makes me question why they want a husband. Do they want to hijack? Do they want to hold them hostage and fucking torture them like proper sadists? Yeah.
Some yes, but others also because they're trying to secure their retirement plan.
Oh, Gone with John's here. Hello, John. Oh, Dak is here too. One fast Dak.
All the OGs are here.
I know, I love it. Good to see you guys.
One fast Dak. You know what the best part about his stuff? And he's doing it again now, even though it's so stupid that he got yeeted. And it's helped, and along with John, but also what helped me inspire to keep going after my other two channels got yeeted, and this one has been the biggest one I've had, is his reactions to the girls with the head meds. He has his whole archive on the Lexapro girls is comedy gold, because he'll just play the clip, then he says his little clip, and I can't help but fucking start laughing because his delivery, his comedic timing, kills me.
And it's short and sweet. It's like perfect.
The fact that he's an oddity because he's Canadian. He's not like a lot of those cucks and batteries up there in Canada.
Do you say batteries?
Well, a lot. That's how I refer to some men. Or Tom Likas should say it too, about how men are just batteries for women, like a human battery. Like they're plugged in and like they're their soul sucked. They're doormats. But no, those the Lexapro head med chick stuff, that's bad. That's how I discovered a channel like a year ago. It was like it randomly popped up and I'm like, what is this? And I recognized one of the girls because I had reacted to her. And I was like, what is this? And then I ended up spending like 30 minutes just watching these, and I was like, I'm fucking dying. And I would comment on some of his stuff saying about how, like, yeah, I know this girl. One of the girls I knew personally. And I actually had, recently, I reacted to a girl back home, back in Maine, that made it onto someone's thing. And I said, I know this chick. I dated her. And I was like, it's finally, that's how I know. It's like, it's come full circle for me. Especially now that I live on the West Coast, I have matched with for comedic purposes, or I've seen women on the apps that I have reacted to that have big followings on TikTok. And I'm sitting there showing my best friend, I said, dude, or he was like, didn't you just react to this girl? And I said, yeah. And she still matched with me knowing about my channel.
That's funny.
It goes to show you again, they break rules for the guys they want. And I just thought it was fun that I'm seeing that now, that I'm seeing more girls that I know that are going viral. And I have to chime in the comments to like do my piece.
Yeah. So are you gonna stream? Was that something that you were gonna do? Because I would love to see you have conversations with these bitches. Like that would be funny.
If I could, I'd probably send them crying. I'd probably make them cry.
Because you're too mean, or?
No, you mean again, too mean. You mean honest?
Yeah. Well, we changed the definition of words now, so.
No, see, no, that's what the psychos do.
I know.
Or the normies, depending on which thing you're in. The normies, no, that's what they do. They change the language to protect their fragile egos.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of knew we were going off the deep end, and I'm just waiting for the meter to hit when we decided to say we can't call them pedophiles anymore. We have to call them minor attracted persons.
Oh, MAPS, yeah. Right. Because we care about the fucking perverts' feelings. Because calling them pedos causes a great deal of fucking shame and guilt. It should. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Don't get me started on that. Not a fan.
But that happens when you glorify and you don't treat mental health. Everything, yeah. That's a thing now. Like, have you seen there's a girl went viral. I guess this new one is called time blindness, to excuse people who are late or tardy all the time. You can now be called time blind. That's the latest thing to jump on the trend. You could say, I have time blindness. That's why I'm always late for work.
Time blindness.
Yep. That's a thing.
I saw that being punctual or being on time was considered white supremacist.
Oh boy, you white folks. You damn white devils. You damn white devils.
I can't help that we have to set a standard.
Yeah. I've been early my whole life, so it's like, well, again, I guess I'm the biggest white supremacist walking.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Apparently, because someone who looks like me can't fathom or, on their own accord be on time.
Right.
We're not.
Right. You can't have discipline.
It's almost as funny as, how they got rid of all the black and brown food icons, but you notice they kept all the white ones? But that was to fight racism.
Right. I noticed
like Dr.
that.
Evil. Right.
So I have a question. Would you say that your family upbringing kind of instilled an amount of kind of discipline and responsibility? like personal
Yeah, well,
responsibility
your
in
mom and-
you. Like, hold on,
Yeah.
are you early because your dad was still in the house?
Yep.
Yeah.
And also, when your papa, your mom and dad are we're all military, you really don't have a
Right.
choice. It's
Right.
kind of going to be there.
Right.
But no, yeah, 15 minutes prior. If you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. I know some people groan about that. I'm like, well, sorry. That's why I'm here and you're there.
Yeah,
No.
because that's something I got. I mean, my dad taught me when I was young. Like, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. And kind of stuck with me.
Yep, I can't stand. Honestly, that's probably it takes a lot to get me, we'll just say, in a certain mood. But one thing that makes me go 0 to 60 is motherfuckers that have no concept of time. Oh my God, that drives me up a wall.
Yeah.
Drives me up a wall.
Yeah.
Or especially like dates. Like I've left dates if they're I reacted to this simp who waited for 30 minutes and he was crying on TikTok about he does everything right. He's the good guy, but he got stood up. And I'm like, I responded to him. I said, motherfucker, 15 minutes. You don't wait 30. You 15 minutes, then you're gone. Fuck her. Like, really? You're going to wait almost an hour? No, 15 minutes top, whatever. That's a big turnoff for me too, even though I date casually. It's just like, look, if you're late to make me wait, I'm gone. I will call somebody else. I'm like, I don't have time for that. I value my time and energy, and I wish more guys did. Especially the younger men. I wish they prioritized their time more and didn't, go off with some broad, and then it ruins their whole day and they go to TikTok and cry about it like a girl. It's just like, no, your time is precious. If she's late, you're gone. Or even in general, like friends, family, like I hold my friends to the same thing. Yeah. I keep my friends out if they're late. I'm like, hey, motherfucker. Or I'll do this. I used to do to my soldiers when they were late. I would just go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sarge, why am I pushing? Because you're late, fool.
Yeah.
0700 formation means I better see your ass at least 6:30, 6:35. 6:45 is the latest I will accept.
Yeah. I wonder, because when I was at Lowe's, there were a couple of people that habitually late, and I got on their ass, and then it got better. But it's like, how can you not understand that if you just leave 15 to 30 minutes earlier than you do when you're late, you should be okay?
It's like people that speed. Motherfuckers always in a hurry. And around here, the number one cause of accidents in Nevada, it's not speeding. It's not drunk driving. It's failing to yield. But these motherfuckers are always in a hurry. Like, I've never seen such elaborate setups just in this Reno area for like all the crosswalks. There's a lot of pedestrians. But that's not what causes people get hit because no one yields. They're not paying attention. They're always in a rush. It's nuts to me. Or people that died because they were running late. I'm like, why didn't you give yourself more time? No concept of time. Lack of time management skills just drives me nuts. But I was like that before I ever joined the military. Again, because I had 3 people in the military in my family that put that in me. It didn't really stick with my sister. It stuck with me though. My sister was the rebellious one, not me. I know, shocker, right? The daughter was the rebel. I wasn't. Love her to death. She turned out fine, but it's like in our youth, I paid the price after she moved out because all her partying and all that stuff. My dad was like, I was on lockdown my senior year after my sister graduated, and I have to remind her of that. I'm like, you know what, Lynn? I was a late bloomer for a lot of experiences because of your bullshit. I paid the price for your sins.
Right. Oh, okay. So I had a comment from, this isn't our Smith. This is a different Smith. Speaking of time, 311 and 9/11th minute were both inside jobs. Oh. Yeah. It's not Smith.
Dax got a community strike. What did you do now? What his channel is harmless. I don't get why he gets in trouble. His channel doesn't do anything wrong.
Right? Rusty. Numerology bits? I can't tell. Thumb up? I can never tell if it's a thumb up or a middle finger.
I don't know if you're going to have anyone else on, but I just realized it's 2:30 my time.
So I know. You said you were short for time, so.
I gotta get ready for work.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to play some more of that conversation because I have some things I want to point out.
All right. Well, for those who haven't seen it, enjoy that HR Karen. But I am out.
Thank you.
See you guys tomorrow with more content. You as well.
All right. I'm going to share your channel too. Actually, can somebody share his channel in the chat? I'm going to go back to my I want to clip this. So, where should I?
Because something I have experienced since I've been here is a lot of people getting hired that don't belong here. Like they're not good for the job. And it actually kind of drives me crazy because I'm very disciplined and very merit focused. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why is this person in this job if they can't even literally lift anything heavy? Like we have.
Is that like based on your team or overnight?
No. Because stuff that I mean, front end stuff like fulfillment, for instance. There's a lot of chicks that work fulfillment that literally need to pull a man from a different department to do their job for them. That's kind of something that I've witnessed a lot. And I'm like, why is that person in that job position to begin with if they can't even physically do the job? I mean, we've had quite a few people hired for night shift that aren't literally physically able to do the job. And I'm like, what are the reasons these people are being hired for these things? I mean, there's a list of standards, right?
Well, there's a job description with physical
requirements.
Right.
Yeah. And this is a male-dominated arena, I think, for a good reason.
It's really not.
Well, when it comes to the lifting of the heavy stuff,
it's really not.
There's women that do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
More than men. It doesn't have anything to do.
More than men. I never saw it. Based on my own lived experience, I never saw that once.
It just depends on the individual.
Okay, because when I see stuff and I see men work and I see the women work here, the women don't work like the men can work, if that makes sense. Like their body, there's physical limitations to what women can lift versus men.
Is there anybody in particular that you're referring to as far as that won't do their share? And I won't even say that it could be the heavy lifting, but when we hire people, we have a job description.
Yes.
You read the job description.
Yes.
How long have you worked for Lowe's?
6 months.
6 months.
Yep.
Got it.
I'm new to Lowe's.
And where did you work before?
I'm actually self-employed. I'm a hairstylist by profession. So, I mean, I've done retail warehouse work before. For different like the military BX. Yeah, I worked for them for a few years, like in my early 20s.
Got it. So, in Lowe's, and I've been with the company 23 years.
Okay.
So when I started with the company, I was an assistant store manager, and I worked on the sales floor, and I ran hardware. No, I worked plumbing, electrical, appliances, kitchen cabinets. That was what we called the zone.
Yeah.
Back in the day. And I had females that lifted more and worked harder than the males. And I've seen it throughout my entire career when I go into stores.
Okay.
So it's not gender based.
Well, I'm just
It's
saying what I
individual.
noticed here.
Yeah.
In this store.
Yeah.
There's a lot of young girls that can't do, so they get the men from various departments.
And they probably can if they try. Anybody can do anything because the limitation. So the job description says you have to be able to lift 50 pounds unassisted.
Right.
And more than 50 pounds, whether you're, and it's not gender based. If it's more than 50 pounds, you should be able to lift it with additional support, whether it's power equipment, whether it's team lift or anything along those lines. But as far as expectations of a company, everybody should be able to lift 50 pounds unassisted. Yeah. Most of the time, things don't weigh more than 50 pounds unless you're getting like what do you call it? Like a toolbox, like some of the big heavy toolboxes or something like that. And then that's not necessarily more than 50 pounds, but it could just be bulky.
Right.
And whether you're a male or a female, you should have assistance with lifting some of those things. They should be team lifts, or you should be using equipment to help get that stuff. So there's nothing according to the expectations of Lowe's as far as lifting or stocking or anything that it should matter whether you're a male or a female in the store. It's just a matter if the person chooses to do it or chooses not to do it.
Yeah. And that might be just it.
Yeah.
There might be a bunch of people that just choose not to do their job and pull somebody from a different department that's busy, should be busy in the other department.
Right.
Pull them to do their jobs with them.
Right. And then it's up to the supervisor to have a conversation with that person, depending on what it is, to find out why. Do they have a restriction in lifting? And if they have a restriction in lifting, do they have an accommodation in the system that says that they can't lift because of this medical reason? And if that's the case and it's been approved through our Sedgwick department and through the store manager, then yes, we should accommodate based on their medical, physical restrictions. Typically, if it's somebody that has restrictions, we end up having them as cashiers because cashiers typically don't have to lift as much as people that are in the departments. But it's all on a case-by-case basis. Not gender, has nothing to do with that, just in the individual.
I mean, because men are physically stronger.
My boss was a weightlifter.
Yeah.
That was her job. So I would beg to differ.
But predominantly, I think men are.
That's an opinion.
No, that's kind of science.
It's an opinion. It is an opinion. I've seen men that can't lift anything.
Oh yeah, there are small
and
men.
I've seen women that can lift a lot more.
Yes.
It's based on the individual.
Well, the individuals that work in this store, there's a lot of weak women that are in positions that I think should maybe.
She's like, okay.
We should be. Well, the individuals that work in this store, there's a lot of weak women that are in positions that I think should be cashiers. Or, doing fulfillment, pulling around pallets of bricks. I've seen.
I'm gonna get to the other stuff. I'm gonna skip the gay the gay black dude stuff. Just because it's not really that important.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of people that would be better suited for the role not being picked because they want to, quote unquote, get more women in leadership. there's a lot of women that aren't suited for it.
There's a lot of men that aren't suited for it.
That's
either.
true.
So that, to me, I mean, it could be any gender.
Yeah.
There's people, it doesn't matter.
But we don't pick people for leadership because they're men. We don't have anything. I mean, maybe we do. We have a
We pick people.
women's leadership thing for Lowe's. Do we have a men's leadership thing?
We don't. What we have is there's certain, actually there's several, what we call, was it BRG groups, whether it's for nationalities, whether it's for gender, whether it's for, you know, your sexual orientation, whatever the case may be. We have groups for everybody.
Everybody except men.
Lowe's is one of, and is known for being one of the most diverse companies that are out there.
Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah.
Across the world.
Oh,
Because, you know, we have business all the way in India.
really?
We do.
Really?
We do. So a lot of our IT, a lot of our strategists are all out of India.
Yeah.
With Lowe's.
Nice.
So one of the most diverse companies.
Well, India produces some really competent young people. Like they have pretty strict upbringings and very disciplined and very future focused. And I'm part of an organization that I deal with a lot of people from all different countries.
What is that organization?
It's pretty much a human rights organization. So.
Is that local?
No, it's worldwide.
Nice.
There's millions and millions of people involved in it. So.
Control.
I just like people to be right for the job. And I think it's inappropriate to treat adults like children. And I know in my experience, I don't see a lot of men doing that. I see a lot of women doing that. And LaShonda was definitely one of those people that would coddle her people. And I think that's bad for a culture, bad for adults to be coddled. So.
It's bad for children to be coddled too.
Yes. Well, I don't know any adult that is okay with being coddled unless they're being used to being coddled as children. So.
Got it.
That's why I would like to see more adults working here that aren't the result of being coddled children.
Got it. That's all the questions I had. That's all I wanted to talk about. Those were the concerns that were brought to my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Now I understand where you're coming from, but that was really all I had. Did you have any other thing that you want to bring up that I should know about?
I'm curious. Well, no, maybe company wide. Really, I'm curious with the diversity, inclusion, equity stuff being banned here in Texas, what Lowe's plans on doing. I mean, since they're the most diverse company and have so many policies put in place. I know in recent news, especially with the Supreme Court too, the universities are starting to being rid of these departments. And I know I understand like corporations are downstream of what happens at the university. Is there any talk or any preparations for?
We're not making any changes.
Okay.
At all.
Okay.
We will continue to probably grow the diversity within our company. So there's no talks of doing anything differently other than what we're doing now. Okay. Except to broaden, like I said, the diversity.
Yeah.
Broaden diversity.
We don't discriminate against age, gender, nationality.
It's not about discrimination.
And we promote it. We want, I mean, in today's society, any like if I look at, and I've been everywhere, you know, with the company, I say everywhere, you know, I've been here, I've been in Hawaii, you know, which is a completely different culture. I've been all the way up to Pennsylvania. but you've got a completely different culture here.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I've noticed, I've been all over Houston and north of Houston and Livingston, and you've got different areas. And I remember when I was going to Pennsylvania, they were like, okay, there's not a lot of diversity over there, and you know, people have one way of thinking. And I got there, and it was quite the opposite. So I think that it depends on the group you're with, but everywhere I've been, there is diversity, because it typically we try and mirror the community so that when people in the community come into the store,
I know they see people who look like them. I get it. No, I understand all the talking points.
because we don't ever want anybody to come into the store and not feel comfortable. I mean, we have people
Going back to college?
well, not necessarily, because sometimes I'll give you an example. So this is before my Lowe's time. When I used to work for Sears Hardware. So back in the day,
I
there was a
remember
Sears.
Sears. Yeah.
You remember the hardware stores?
Dude, I grew up doing construction with my dad, so like I've been shopping at this Lowe's location for the past 15 years, and I've seen the changes. And you know what makes me feel uncomfortable as a customer is when I talk to somebody and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Like, and they're just there, and I'm like, why are you here?
You can find that anywhere though.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget. I used to work. This was 26 years ago. Obviously a lot younger. But I used to work at the customer service desk, and Sears Hardware sold craft and tools, right? Lifetime guarantee on tools. Well, the ratchets, they have components that make up the ratchet. And when I would get older generation that would come in and they would put their ratchet on the table and they'd be like, I'm gonna go get a new one. And I'm like, no, wait. I'm gonna fix this for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna repair it for you.
Yeah.
You can't because you're a woman. I said, yes, I can. I said, give me the opportunity. He's like, I'm gonna go get a new one. I said, you go get a new one, but when you come back and this works right, I'm not exchanging it. And I would take the guts out and I would rebuild the ratchet and I would hand it back to and they would get so mad because I would prove them wrong.
Right.
But it doesn't matter what my gender is. I can do everything just as much as you can. And if you need assistance with something, I probably need assistance with something too.
Right.
Because it's difficult. But it doesn't matter. So sometimes you just have to show people, you know, I can put whatever my mind to it, whatever I want to do, wherever I want to go. I can do it if I choose to.
If you choose to, you have to have the passion for it.
If I choose not to, then I won't.
I know. But it's not most women. I've been doing construction my whole life. I have in my profession, because I'm a hairstylist, first and foremost. That's my job, that's my profession. So I have clients from all around this community. I'm very well connected within my community in various different networks. So I'm around women all the time.
Yeah.
And the stuff that I do at my house, none of them would do. They were just like, I mean,
but you're a female.
Yes.
And you can do it.
Yes.
I can replace a garbage disposal just like the next person.
Right.
You know, my daughter.
But not all women are inclined for the.
But you never
for the
know.
intricate
You have
things.
to know the person.
Yeah.
My daughter does woodwork. You know, she's also an HR for a different company. So she does the girly stuff, and she gets home and she cuts her grass and she edges and she builds things with wood.
Yes.
It depends on the person.
Yes. The person is a product of environment a lot of times. Yeah. So question, who was this an anonymous tip? Because actually I remember seeing somebody.
I can't tell you that.
Oh, you can't tell me whether it's anonymous or not?
I can't tell you. It's confidential.
Oh.
I don't give you who I spoke to. I don't tell you who reported it. I just have conversations with you. I have conversations with other people.
Yeah.
And I ask them questions.
Okay.
Yeah. That's giving them that sense of confidentiality to where they continue to feel comfortable reporting.
Right.
And that's why we ask you not to go back and try and find out who said what or, you know, anything else. It's not a matter of who reported it. It's a matter of what was reported and what's factual and what's not factual. And that's the only thing I concern myself with.
Hmm.
That's why we have the conversations.
Interesting setup.
Oh. Any other questions for me other than who reported it?
Nope.
Anything else I can?
Rusty, I sent you the link. Yeah. Come on up, Rusty. I would like to hear your point of view, being since, your profession, you rely very heavily on Lowe's and Home Depot. I'm just curious. You probably go there daily for the kind of work that you do, right? Okay, Plan. Good to see you. All right, Smith has a wrench now. JR shit tested him and he passed, apparently. That's funny. So, after this discussion with this feminist, I'm pretty sure that every single one of them in every corporate arena is just as crazy and full of shit as this bitch is. So, she was super dominating in this conversation. She kept fucking cutting me off. And when I was talking about women, she kept bringing up men. Typical. She even said at one point that women were better than men at these jobs. And her example of her boss that was a weightlifter was going back to a chronic. I'm going to play that bit again. Because he's so right. The dumbasses. The fucking idiots.
Which is why the no harm and no people never got sunburnt, because white people get sunburnt. I mean, banned off of YouTube. White people should wear sunscreen because white people get sunburnt. Well, my grandma was white and she never got sunburnt. That's how you identify a stupid person. You talk about a group of people and what happens, and then that someone brings up an individual.
Right. It has to be based on basically the majority, not like a case-by-case basis.
Yes.
Yep. The chair was designed even in MBA so that women could infiltrate middle and top level management. Yes. I think that's true. I really do. I know, Nella Wolf. He had a lot of patience with Minka. He has a lot of patience for for these people. Actually, listening to him, I think one night on, he was talking to Mr. Slave. I guess he's a black pill dude. Trying to get to the bottom of why Mr. Slave thinks the way he does. It's pretty funny. Uh-oh. Yeah, I hope Frank is good. All right, Rusty, if you're not going to come up. I just wanted to share some of this. Oh, you know what else I want to share? Something super important.
Even the most serious pursuits, for example, the pursuit of science, is a form of play. It's the highest form of play.
Delving into the...
So he's literally going to break down what the feminists have been doing. Hold on, let me put up my banner. Because now I'm playing somebody else's. Fair use. There we go. Yeah.
Since about 2016, psychologists have finally, in their wisdom, determined that there is such a thing as left-wing authoritarianism.
Smother
and so
mothers.
that would be a web of ideas that are correlated in that if you have one, you're likely to have the others. You can identify that set. I did some of the work on that, early work on that with one of my students, Christine Brophy. We found a set of progressive ideas and then a set of totalitarian leftist ideas that combined the progressive ethos with the willingness to use fear and compulsion and force to implement them.
Toxic
okay, and so we found the following predictors because we were curious: does this system of ideas exist, or is it just a right-wing, conspiracy delusion? And the answer is there's clearly a set of coherent, statistically coherent left-wing ideas that are allied with the willingness to use compulsion and force. And we found 4 major predictors of the proclivity to have that idea set. And the first predictor, and it was a walloping predictor, negative 0.45, if I remember correctly, verbal intelligence and left-wing authoritarianism correlated more highly than verbal intelligence and academic performance, right? A stunning correlation. So when you ask yourself, how can people be daft enough to accept this relatively reductionistic and simple-minded view of the world, everything is about power? One of the answers to that is, well, they're not very verbally sophisticated. Okay. The second best predictor was being female. The third best predictor was having a feminine temperament, independent of being female, right?
Okay.
And the fourth best predictor was having ever taken even one explicitly politically correct higher education course. So now, since then,
So the predictors pretty much conclude any woman that goes to university. Young woman taking any degree, because guess what? At the universities, they have made this shit mandatory now for pretty much all tracks. So I had a client that had a list of like 7 classes to choose from for their degree, and 4 of them were feminist kind of classes, and 3 were not, but she had to pick 4 total. So she was at least going to get 1, and it was mandatory. So that's the kind of shit that needs to stop.
other people have developed analogous models of left-wing authoritarianism and looked for other predictors. And one of the most interesting predictors that has emerged is there's a very powerful relationship between the dark tetrad personality characteristics, including malignant narcissism, and the proclivity to hold left-wing authoritarian views. In fact, the correlation between malignant narcissism and left-wing authoritarianism is 0.6, which is so high that you could make the case, because the scales are somewhat unreliable, you could make the case that they're not distinguishable on the measurement front. Okay, I know this is a long-winded question, but I want to specify it exactly. All right, so the dark tetrad personality types, they show subclinical characteristics of psychopaths. And psychopaths are predatory parasites. And so So we could imagine there's two forms of parasitism going on here. There's the Darwinian competition between idea sets for memorability and communicability, but then there's the proclivity for people who occupy the parasitical niche in the human ecosystem, and that would essentially be psychopaths, to utilize ideas like the parasitical idea sets that you described for their own truly parasitical purposes. And then I want to decorate that with one more thing. So you correct me if you're wrong here. I think this is actually, especially because of the emerging virtualization of the world, I actually think that there's an existential threat here, because parasitism is an unbelievably deep problem, right? Sex itself evolved to foil parasites. And there's always been parasitical people, criminals and the like, and the most parasitical of those are the psychopaths. And we've evolved mechanisms to keep the parasitical predators under control. A lot of them involve physical force. And all of our evolved mechanisms for dampening down the predatory parasites, none of them work online. And so I think our whole culture is enabling the predatory psychopaths on the criminal front and on the sub-criminal front, right? 35% of net traffic is pornographic. Online crime is rampant. And then you have all the demon troll types, you know, who are polluting the political discourse, and there's data on them too. So if you're an online troll, you're much more likely to show all the dark tetrad traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and to top it all off, sadism. So please have at that set of ideas.
To sum it up, crazy bitches are literally destroying society. And the only way you can contain them, I mean, there is a regulating force to it. And actually, MGTOW is pretty much the only ones that have that solution. Gatekeeping. So you don't let them in your space and they won't fucking parasitize and infect other people. So that's why my channel is Crazy Bitch Free. Crazy bitches are not allowed to have a voice here. They don't get to participate. They get to watch from the bushes. So they have something to seethe over. I have a list on my channel of crazy bitches that shouldn't be taken seriously. So as long as any of those continue to be allowed into spaces, it will remain chaotic. But Rusty, I texted you the link. I'm not dropping it in the chat. Trollophobia. Yeah. Rusty, you must be behind on this stream. So, universities, I would like to see this research. I want to see these studies. Also, the sneaky fucker mating strategy. I thought was funny. By the way, you guys, this was a good one here. And Peterson makes a really good argument for firing all these crazy bitches out of every place. Did you guys share Working Man's channel earlier? Mm-hmm. There you go. I mean, these online whores, like, what is the fucking point of talking to them, really? I mean, they're entertaining, to say the least. They can do some serious damage. I mean, Angler found that out. Yeah, you guys got to witness how they infiltrated the MGTOW community with their white knights. Cajun Crab Trapper.
Hey, you could blame Brandon Trueblood for that. He always switches up my damn name to fuck me up.
It's funny. Texas,
apparently,
Texas.
That woman did not know exactly who she was talking to.
Well, she actually, so Rusty, little backstory. She sent me an email and she wanted to call me. She's like, there's been a concern that's been brought to my attention and I need to talk to you. I was like, ooh, yay. Yeah, when's the next time you're going to be at the store? Because I would love to have a sit down with you because I have some concerns of myself and some questions. So I got her to the store. She had to drive over 2 hours. She was late, of course.
Wow.
Because they're always late. Yeah.
Boy, I'm sitting outside right now, GM.
Yeah.
And apparently we have got a monstrous storm that's coming in.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. The heat here has just been out of control. The wind is crazy, as you can see right now.
Yeah.
But just a little background. I know you and I have talked briefly about this, but for the rest of the guys in the chat, I have been a customer of Lowe's and Home Depot for over 30 years. As most folks know, I own a whole bunch of homes and real estate that I rent out. And, I'm constantly going in those stores, to buy things. And, the short version of what I have to say is 20 years ago, most of the departments were staffed by people who actually were part of that particular field. So if you were in the electrical department, you were talking with somebody that had a lot of experience in electrical. If you were in the plumbing department, same thing. Appliances, whatever, it was all that way. There was nothing but a whole bunch of people who had nothing but experience in those apartments. But today, and I want to say starting somewhere around 10 to 12 years ago, a shift started where I would go in and, they still had the buttons where you could push the button for assistance in the aisles. And then somebody would show up and they were young. Half the time they were minorities. And they had absolutely no clue what you were talking about. Like if I would ask, if I'm in an electrical department, I would say, hey, listen, I need a two-way switch, for a two-phase circuit breaker, and I needed it to be GE. They were like, what? Are you speaking Greek? And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're working here and you don't even know what the hell I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I would buy a refrigerator, and then they would call for assistance to have the refrigerator loaded up on a dolly and then brought out to the front of the store after I had paid for it. And a short woman would show up to help me load a 200-pound refrigerator into the back of my truck. And just for shits and giggles, I would say, okay, load it up. And then she would look at me like, oh, what are you talking about? I can't lift this. I'm just here to help. I go, oh, you can't lift this? You mean like this? And then I would pick the entire refrigerator up and load it into the back of my truck. And then I would sit there and I would scold her and say, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Do you think that you can do what I can do? Why is your store putting you into this position to make you feel like shit?
Right. Right.
You know, this has been going on for years now.
Yeah.
Boy, this storm is getting bad.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
So if there's a boycott for Lowe's, will you be shopping, doing all your spending dollars at Home Depot for a bit?
Well, here's the thing. Over the last 20 years, there has been a ride. When Home Depot would be doing good, Lowe's would be doing bad. And then when Lowe's was doing good, Home Depot would be doing bad. Okay? Right now, Home Depot has it over Lowe's because they have actively seen what's going on. And at least Home Depot has responded by at least making sure that their associates engage you. At Lowe's right now, not only have they removed the little red buttons that you used to be able to push to get some assistance, but they also, the associates are hiding. They do not want to engage the customers.
Yeah, because they don't know what to say because they haven't been trained properly.
Yeah.
And they're literally the wrong people for the job because they're trying to meet some diversity quota.
Yeah, I was just in Lowe's yesterday, and I counted up out of all there. I counted that from what I could see, there was about 45 employees. About half of them were young Black women.
Yep.
Now, does that sound racist? Well, maybe on the face of it, but the truth of the matter is that they have no freaking experience. For the most part, all of these young girls are nothing but a bunch of single mamas. They don't know anything about paint. They don't know anything about electricity. They don't know anything about wood. They don't know anything about plumbing. They don't know anything about cabinetry. They don't know anything about structural engineering. Right. They don't know anything.
Yeah. And you know, it's strange. It's funny you say young Black women because, I mean, me as a woman, I only learned about stuff like that and got interested in it because of my father. And in those households, the fathers are predominantly absent. So why would you hire a disproportionately higher number of women that are least likely to be even qualified for that position?
I don't know. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
You know, in 2005, when Hurricane Katrina hit, I lost 4 houses that were basically underwater, 11 foot all the way down to 4.5 foot. And I spent over the next 3 years, I spent over $250,000, over $250,000 in Lowe's rebuilding just these 4 houses. And the level of appreciation and just a basic rudimentary knowledge about how construction works, it was so different then than it is now. I remember when I was rebuilding those homes, that is about the time that Lowe's created the Pro Desk. Okay, that was just for professional guys like myself. We didn't want to mess around. We knew exactly what we needed, and when we came in, we were spending big money.
Right.
Today, the Pro Desk is a fucking joke.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think Home Depot is less? Well, Lowe's, the HR Feminist definitely said that Lowe's is the most diverse. So I feel like she was saying that they have pushed the agenda farther than Home Depot.
Yeah, well, the only thing I have to say about diversity is I could go out here in the yard right now and I could pick up a limb from a crepe myrtle tree, an oak tree, a pine tree, and other various types of foliage that's out here in the yard, and I can bundle them up together. Okay, but then if I go out here and I pick up just pine sticks or just oak sticks and I bundle them up, I can't break those with my hand. But the diversified bundle that I gathered that had a sampling of each one, I can break in my hands every single time. Diversity is not strength. Diversity is weakness.
Yeah, homogeny seems to be strength, strangely. So I hear people a lot that say, oh yeah, we need diversity of thought, but maybe we need more of a concise, like, agreement on thought.
No, what we need is and listen, not and I know what your policy is on your channel. So I'm not afraid of saying this. What we need is more competent white men. Period.
Yeah. Well, and I did ask her during that conversation, you know, there's a women's leadership group for Lowe's, and is there not one for men? And she's like, no, but we have all these other groups and there's one for everyone. But she didn't list off anything that was for white men that aren't gay. So the majority of men in our society, in our country.
Yeah, okay, I can't take it anymore.
It was a lovely breeze, but
holy shit. No, that was major. I had to come inside. I was like, oh my God, what the hell is happening here? We haven't seen any rain like in 2 months. So we got like burn bans all over the place.
Uh-oh. So are you going to have, you got a hurricane blowing in?
I'm not sure. Now, Hurricane Katrina hit it hit exactly on August 29th. And, you know, we're a few days shy of getting past the 29th. So I don't know what's going to happen. I hope nothing happens. Yeah, I'm just not in the mood for rebuilding right now. I've actually been kind of lazy.
Right. Well, Rusty, is there anything else you want to say about Lowe's as a high? I'm trying to remember what because they talk about customers in those meetings and how to get them to buy more, and you know, nobody brings up the fact that, you know, if you just fire all the incompetent people and put people back in there that know what the hell they're talking about, that would help.
It would help tremendously if Lowe's or even Home Depot could just get knowledgeable people that actually participate in those particular industries of those departments that they're working. It would change everything. But that's not what's happening. You know, like I just got some paint mixed up just the other day, and it was some young black chick that was behind a counter, and she was telling me, no, what you're asking for can't be done. No, we don't have that color. No, we don't have that sheen. no, that particular paint does not exist, and I can't find it listed under your phone number. And I was just getting ready to leave, and then an older white dude showed up. And then the next thing I know, I got my paint. Now, how did that happen?
Right.
And you know what? Every single one of these diversity hires, they're always on their fucking cell phones.
Yeah,
they're checking their Snapchat, their WhatsApp, their Instagram, their TikTok. They're checking their damn Facebook dating. It's absolutely ridiculous. Even the cashiers, you know, like when I was checking out, and you know, I know Lowe's is making a really big, bold move with AI right now.
Yeah,
they're creating, self-checkout. And I was trying to check out, and then I had somebody, you know, a woman come over there to try to help me out. And she stayed on her phone the entire time she was trying to check me out. You know, it's crazy. The level of incompetence is it's off the chart right
now. Yeah. Smith just got here. Yeah, Smith, there's another Smith now.
Oh yeah, GM. Yeah, I saw that new Smith. He made that comment about wanting to get on your stream. So I checked him out last night. He seems legit. He's into numerology and into conspiracy theories.
Okay. Yeah, I did check out one of his live streams where he was just looking up stuff. So
yeah, I was trying to explain to him that, you know, if he's going to come on your stream and he's kind of like a newbie, you know, JR is going to beat him up for just a little bit, but just hold tight.
Yeah, he needs to initiate with JR first and foremost. Bandit's back.
Yeah. Well, GM, I'll get off. It's great talking with you.
Good to talk
great
to you.
Talking with you. Yeah, and God bless you for the work that you've done, you know, taking this upon yourself, you know, to kind of go undercover.
It was a personal little social science experiment. And I think this specific store is at a good place right now. Now that they've gotten rid of the feminist that was the ASM.
Right.
And all her little work children. Some got fired, some quit. I think there's 2 left that are about to go. But yeah, no, the culture of the store is different now. The environment's different. And I've had clients that have gone back there because I have clients that kind of from all over the community, and every single one of them is into home improvement or works in a business where they need supplies of something, and they rely on Lowe's or Home Depot. And a lot of them had given up on Lowe's, and I kind of tried to push them back over there because I was like, it's different, it's changing, like things are going to be better now. So
right. Oh yeah, and let me say to Timothy, because he was talking about, he made a response to what I said. I said competent white men. You know, that's kind of like a stereotypical thing. I didn't mean anything bad by it. I mean, there's competent black men, competent Mexican men, you know. So yeah, Timothy's right. Competent men in general. But I'm telling you right now, these damn women, they don't work in a freaking construction store. It just doesn't work.
Right.
Okay, I'll let you go, GM.
All right, Rusty. Thank you for sharing.
Bye.
Have a good night. Enjoy your hurricane.
Oh yeah.
Enjoy it. All right. I think I'm going to wrap this up. Oh, yeah. Angry Black women at Lowe's. There are still a couple of those. You know, I find it strange that one department took it upon themselves, under one feminist's rule, we'll call it, authority. There was a disproportionate number of minorities. And you know what? I don't even know if there's a single straight man that worked at the front end. They're all gay dudes. All of them. So, I don't know. Gay dudes or women. All of them. Yeah, that's true. I don't know, Bandit. I'm still contemplating my termination. I mean, I understand I said gay black dude. And apparently the integrity section of the Associate Standard of Conduct policy is what I violated by saying gay black dude. I mean, I think that's what the feminist just said after I triggered the fuck out of her. Having that little chat. But I think they are hiding behind the guise of protecting the gay black dudes. I don't think that's what it's about at all. All right, JR. No need. They'll be on the wall soon enough. Oh, CJ. All right, I'm going to end this. It has been fun. Penis envy. Yeah, that chick had some serious penis envy. If anybody wants, here, I'm going to drop the link to this conversation. If anybody wants it, feel free to pick it apart. Make clips if you like. React to it. Do whatever in the hell you want. Make fun of crazy bitches at Lowe's. All right, yeah. Nella Wolf. The Smiths. Now we have the Smiths. That's kind of cool. JR. CJ. Krish. Timothy. Good to see you. K-Plan. John. Good to see you. Billy. Good as always, sir. Nella Wolf. Contriver under a different name. Reverend Insanity. I like it. Rusty, thanks for coming up, man. Woody Johnson. Freebird. All right, y'all. Have a good one.